It's time for the Dr. Tongie Show.
Hey, you're on the air with Dr. Tongie. Talk to me.
As soon as I hear your voice, Dr. Tongie, my day is better.
Hey, Dr. Tongie. I took your advice and made some changes in my life. And you know what? I've been winning ever since. Thank you for your advice.
Now, here's Dr. Tongie.
Hey, and good afternoon. Welcome to the show that was created on Kingdom Principles, a show designed to take you from where you are to where you want to be. A show that has guests to come into the studio and to tell us how they did it and what they're doing and inspire and motivate us as well. And if you are joining us and you see that the studio is without our girl, Jeannie, Kitty of the City Jones, and our co-producer, KJ, well, they are on various assignments. And they left the studio to me. Guess what? We're going to get started. We've got a couple of guests that are really doing it in the marketplace. One in particular that's coming on right after the principals is someone who has taken a stance. She went from corporate America to going out in the marketplaces and showing us how effective leadership truly is done. And then at the 30 of the hour, that part where we ask the question, how did you get here? A young man that has truly discovered his gift. He is in his purpose and he's using it to do some great things right here in Los Angeles, California. But again, before all of that greatness, I gotta tell you how got to come to the end of the 5-part series. This is my series on leadership, true leadership. And because we have honesty, openness, and sincerity as a hallmark of who we are here at the Dr. Tongie Show, I got to be honest with you. This has been difficult to be in front of yourself and see that, wow, I've got to work on a couple of things here. It's been a challenge, but I am up for the challenge, and I do hope that you are too. I appreciate your being interactive with me on social media at Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Dr. Tongie Show across all of the platforms. I welcome your DMs and your text messaging, and you're just telling me, hey, you're doing a good job, or hey, you can do better. But with all of that said, I need you to know that your purpose is why you exist. Please do not forget that. I've enjoyed this series. I took time to write out some notes and really pray on some things and really fast about some things too, again, because I do not want to live a life of hypocrisy where I'm saying, hey, come on, let's do this, let's do this, and then I'm not doing it. That's not fair. I do have people that hold me accountable, and I hold myself accountable as well. Now, leaders are born. You heard me say that in the first part, the second part, the third part. I'm saying it again. Leaders are truly born. The problem often lies when that leadership, the true essence of who you are, lies dormant. It's not until self-discovery is taken a look at, or you're going into self-discovery, that you realize that you really can't lead anyone if you're not leading yourself. So please, please, please be mindful of that. Transformation occurs in the mind. That's one of the hallmark premises of leadership. It's a mind transformation, because attitude is everything when you are leading, especially when you're leading yourself. Now, you know that I talk a lot about Dr. Miles Monroe, who was the leader of, who was the teacher, you could say leader, a spokesperson who championed leadership, true leadership. He coined the phrase servant leadership. Now, what that basically means is once you discover, your reason for being, your purpose, your gift, you begin now to serve others with that gift. That is what Dr. Monroe coined as servant leadership. We don't serve ourselves with the gift, we serve others. We know that greatness lies in us, and therefore we have to kind of get it out. And the way we get it out is truly to be a servant to other people. Now, some principles on leadership that I want you to remember, and then we're going to go right to our first guest. Leadership is predetermined and not preference. Leadership is a prepared position. Leadership demands a price. Leadership is a divine deposit, and it's not for you, but it's for others. Leadership is becoming your true self for the benefit of others. With this newfound awareness of who you are, I want you to really be careful to know this. One, you must always present yourself with good self-concept, a good self-concept of who you are. Two, you're strong and your self-worth is just as strong. And three, you must always and forever have a high self-esteem for yourself. Again, it has been a learning curve for me, but I am truly grateful for the opportunity to know that there's some work to be done. I've rolled up my sleeves and I'm ready for the challenge. And we are going to do this, and we're going to do this together. Now then, I told you that our next guest, or our first guest, was someone who has truly shown corporate America what or how we are to be treated. She builds race relations, and her resume reads like a who's who among the greats. And it is my distinct pleasure to welcome Ms. Redmond, Kelly Redmond, to the Dr. Tongie Show. Thank you, Ms. Kelly. Thank you for joining.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tongie.
Absolutely. When I read your resume, your curriculum vitae, I'm thinking, oh, dear God, this woman she's a powerhouse. Tell us.
To God be the glory.
I know, right?
To God be the glory. And thank you. And I have to give a shout out to KJ Powell for connecting the two of us. He is an incredible, phenomenal young man at Pepperdine University, and I'm so blessed to know him and his family.
Oh, wow. Absolutely. And I miss him so much. I miss he and Kitty of the city, Jeannie. So I'm having to be three folk today, but you're absolutely right. He's a wonderful, wonderful spirit, and it truly is an honor to know him and have him in my life and that of my family's.
Absolutely.
Kelly Redmond comes to California. How did you get here, lady?
Well, the journey started on my very first visit here when I was 12 years old, and during that visit, I just knew that I needed to be here. I didn't understand why, other than the obvious, that I just loved California, loved Los Angeles, thought it was beautiful, the ocean, the mountains, all of that. it also helped that Soul Train had moved from Chicago to LA, and I was ready to be on Soul Train, so that was another factor. But it took some time and some soul searching to really determine why, but I just knew that I was supposed to. And I had been strategically building relationships and working toward a move here, traditional means, looking, for jobs, job transfers, et cetera. And none of that worked out. And in 2011, I had an incredible opportunity. And I said, when this current career opportunity is over, then I'm moving to California. And literally, as soon as I spoke that in prayer, God showed me it was time to move and that he was going to make the path clear for me to do that, and he did. And I'm so blessed that he gave me the courage and blind faith to take that jump, because I did not have it all laid out. I said I was going to come to explore for a couple of months and look for a job, and when I found a job, then I would stay. About 3 weeks in to my time of exploration here in LA, my body got up and joined West Angeles Church. When they did the altar call, and then they extended the right hand of fellowship, and they said, if you're looking for a church home, and I already considered West Angeles my LA church home, although I had a church home in Chicago, Apostolic Church of God. And literally, my body got up, and it was an out-of-body. I said, what are you doing? You have a church home. You don't have a job. You don't have a place to live. You're just exploring here. But my body got up and joined the church. And the next day, I got a place. And within about 3 more days, I got my daughter. She was visiting her dad in L.A., and I brought her here, and I said, this is your new home. Now, when we left, when she went to Atlanta and I came to L.A., I said, well, we may consider moving. She said, well, you can go, but I'm staying in Chicago with Mama. That's her grandma. But when I brought her here, it was clear even to her, and there was a message that Bishop Blake gave that let me know that she was going to be good with the move. And I just followed the direction of the Holy Spirit and just, again, took that jump. And it has been a blessing to be here.
Wow. Your story, that you painted such a beautiful, vivid picture of probably about 90% of the people that I have met in my transferring from Atlanta to LA. Everyone has that same precipice of, I knew that I needed to be here. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. I even asked my parents at 12 years old. We had family friends, although I thought they were blood relatives, but they were play cousins, and I didn't know that because Aunt Hattie was just Aunt Hattie. So I thought when her granddaughter said, well, you should come and go to high school here so you could go to college for free, I pitched that to my parents, and my parents responded like, have you lost your mind? And I'm like, well, it sounded like a great plan to me. Right. So I had to go back to the drawing board to figure out another strategy. And then when it came time to go to college, I wanted to move here, but God had another plan, and it was all in alignment with preparing me to be here. So I'm so grateful for my journey.
Absolutely. You have a curriculum vitae, a resume that reads, I swear to you, like the who's who among the greats. And I said that in the introduction, but wow, you've done quite a bit. You really have.
In my young life, I just turned 51 on Saturday.
Oh, happy belated birthday.
Although it feels a little old, but I know that I'm still young. But what I have been, Dr. Tongie, is incredibly blessed. Okay. I have been incredibly blessed from a very young age, and especially, through my college years, to have some incredible mentors who have adopted me along the way, and not just mentors, because there's a difference between mentorship and sponsorship. I have had sponsors who have actively opened doors for me and created, opportunities for me to meet others. And I could go on and on about who they are, but incredible. And that's what leadership is.
Yes, it is.
That's what leadership is.
Absolutely.
Identifying, that light in someone and being determined to do whatever you can to help nurture it and facilitate, the growth. And that has been deposited in me, and I've been determined to pay that forward as well with young people. Well, all people, not based on age, but, whoever, wherever there's a kindred spirit or you have an opportunity to connect people, I try to do that at every opportunity I have.
I appreciate your doing that. We need more leaders, more effective leaders like yourself and countless others who are truly passing the baton. You're seeing that gift. You're saying, hey, I can help you, but you got to, one, ask for help, and two, be willing to receive it. So you're doing that, and I appreciate that. With Impact Media and Entertainment Coalition, that's a beautiful tapestry of what you've learned from corporate America and kind of marry the two with in the marketplace. Would you expound upon what that looks like as it relates to your picking up those experiences in corporate America and then marrying the two?
Yes. Well, it also started the year of 12 years. 12 years of age was a very influential year, I'm learning. Around that time, I saw the Marva Collins story, which was like a after-school special when I was that age in about 7th grade. And what that television show basically taught me was that, the story of Marva Collins is that she was a school teacher. She was given children and students that were written off as behavioral issues with learning disabilities and students that just were not teachable. But what I saw in the telling of her story was that you can do and achieve what others deem as impossible, that you can achieve the impossible, with the determined will, with the heart, to serve and, a commitment to make a difference. And when I saw how that impacted me, because both of my parents were educators, and I didn't necessarily want to be an educator, but what I wanted to do was to do the impossible for our community. And that is what inspired me to really look at how change occurs. And throughout the course of, my college days, I realized that media and entertainment was such a powerful tool to uplift, to educate, to encourage, to provide access. So I knew that I wanted to work in the space of using the tool to be an influence for good, especially as it relates to the Black community, because I didn't feel that it was really being used as powerfully as it could. And, that's 30 years ago, and it's still the case today. And so when I was in a leadership program called America's Leaders of Change, I was also in a ministerial training program at my church in Chicago, the systematic leadership process. I determined, I got a chance to kind of do that inventory around, what is my purpose? What is my calling? How am I supposed to, live my life, as a Christian, as well as a leader, and how am I going to impact the world? And the concept for Impact Media and Entertainment Coalition came as a result of being in those two training programs at the same time. And it's been instrumental in creating, the foundation. And our focus, it's in three primary areas, and it's around industry influence, because the media and entertainment industry have a corporate social responsibility to be more diverse and inclusive in their hiring practices, as well as in the cultures that they create, whether it's in the corporate office or whether it's on set, for the various productions and the content that they're creating, And then also they have to be responsible around the programming that's being created, and the programming that's being created should be more of a bridge. We should have more programming that serves as a bridge to building race relations instead of contributing to the division, the hatred, and perpetuating the stereotypes that keep us separate. And so, when I get visions, unfortunately, fortunately and unfortunately, I'm a big thinker and I'm determined to solve the problem and have big ideas. Mm-hmm. But sometimes you have to eat an elephant one bite at a time. So I had to learn throughout this process not to despise small beginnings. And so that has been part of the challenge of doing this. So I've been here building the relationships, building the foundation and the framework. I have the long-term strategy, the strategic plan for 5 to 10 years down the line. But until, the resources and the support aligns, we have to just, chip away and bite that elephant one bite at a time. So that industry influence is huge. And thank goodness over the course of the 8 years that I've been here, I've been able to be in places and spaces to use my voice, to have some influence. And so that's one realm. And I think that's one of the most important realms. Secondly, it's around supporting positive, uplifting content creators, and especially, those who are focused on telling the stories of the Black community, and supporting, the content development around that. And not recently, since I've started Impact Media, I've been advised by several very well-respected content creators in the industry who've just told me flat out, Kelly, you have such a specific vision and you have programming ideas that you want to see come to fruition in the market. You need to do it yourself. And I said, well, no, I have this expertise in nonprofit management and building coalitions and, doing all these things. I said, I want to use my expertise that I have to help support those who already have that skill set. And I just recently had another conversation a few weeks ago, and they said, you sound like a director. You're a producer. You need to create this content. And I have been trained from not necessarily in film, but in television producing years ago, but the industry has changed. But I am going to start focusing more on creating content as well, because it's important. And as someone reminded me, no one wants to get notes from an executive producer. You need to create your own if you have such strong feelings about it. So I'm going to continue to support those who are creating the content, as well as it's time now to be able to focus on creating our own content. So we'll do that. And then thirdly is the community education piece. It's really important that we promote and promote the understanding and awareness that consuming positive content in our media and entertainment choices is critical to having positive outcomes in life, in our behavior, in our careers. We have to feed ourselves intentionally, just like we do when we sit down to have a meal. We can't eat all junk food. We have to have nutrients that, accompany some of the things we may just enjoy for pleasure. So the same applies to our media choices. We have to have content that feeds us and nurtures us and provides, some nutritional value per se for our minds, our spirits, our hearts. So that part is important as well. So doing that community education, and then also being a repository for positive information and content that affects our community, sharing, the good things that are going on. A lot of times, even when we have social media, people share things that concern them, but we don't necessarily always share all the good news that we have and that we know. And I want to help change the culture and shift that perspective. Let's spend our time sharing more of the good things instead of just complaining about the bad things and not necessarily doing anything to address them.
Absolutely. You have, honey. We can actually say, "Amen." Pass the collection plate on that, because you're doing it, and for you to honestly answer the call, that's major. And I've learned over the course of a few years that a good idea versus a God idea will always be so large that you're like, what? And it is so laser focused on systems. So basically what you're doing is just kind of dismantling, like you said, you're just going, against systems to kind of recreate and put our narratives out there. So, wow. Thank you.
And the challenge behind that, of course, is that the industry does not want to change. They want the status quo. Yep. And our community is like, we don't really understand why this is so important. I like watching XYZ, and that's what I'm going to watch. Mm. And what you're doing, that sounds good, but it's not moving me enough to want to take away from my time, my talent, my treasure to support that, because we don't necessarily understand the power, despite the fact that even Nielsen, has produced, research that shows, and it was so clear and plain. This was at least 5 years ago. They had a report, and it gave a directive, and it said the Black community should use their collective voice to demand that there's more programming that has more of a diverse narrative, sharing the positive things that are going on, in the Black community, because we are driving that industry with our influence by our dollars, by our eyeballs, etc. But we have not been able to really come together to do what we need to do. And I'm determined, to work. There's a lot of great work going on in our community, but we have to build cross-sector collaborations to address the issues that we're having. And if there was ever a time, now is the time. For such a time as this, what we're dealing with in the world, that a lot of people, a few years ago when Obama was in office, there were some people who dared to say we were living in a post-racial society. And I've been kind of beating the drum about this and trying to raise the alarm, like, hey, this is still an issue. We still need to focus on this. And, we are where we are now. It's my hope and my prayer that we will come together across sectors, across, races and nationalities to address a really, really serious issue that's facing the Black community. Because, when you look at the research around, you can take, any of the areas around kind of overall well-being, and the Black community is the race that is actually declining in some of the statistics as it relates to outcomes, where there's improvement with others. And as I was interviewing Bishop Blake one day, he shared with me that, because I asked him something about his focus on, the Black community, and he said, when you go to the emergency room, the health professionals, they triage and they determine who needs help the most, who's in the most critical condition, and that's who gets the attention. And we're not saying that, race relations across all races is not important, but we are at such a critical stage of what's happening in and to the Black community. And this has been an issue for hundreds of years that has gone unaddressed and unresolved. And we owe it to ourselves, and quite honestly, the rest of the world owes it to us to make us a priority and to get to the bottom of, incorporating some solutions that are going to have a long-lasting impact to raise the quality of life for African Americans and Black people in this country.
Absolutely. You have been so explicit in your passion and in your purpose. And I know that it's already done. We're basically just going in and filling in the gaps, if that makes any sense, because when you have that God idea, you know that the end is always done before the beginning, and then we're placed kind of in time and space. Same difference with what you're doing. I applaud you. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for being so on point, for answering some of the ills that we're facing. How can people kind of join forces with you and this movement that you've created? How can they say they want to be a part of it? How can they contact you, either by way of social media or email?
Sure. Thank you so much. And again, thank you for the opportunity to share on your platform. I really appreciate it. It's come at a critical time. I literally just dropped my daughter off on campus, and now I get to focus on my other baby. So I'm really excited. So my direct email address is Redmond, REDMOND, at impact, IMPACT, -enterprises.org. And then on Facebook, I primarily use Facebook, but Facebook, we have a page called the Positive Impact Campaign. And you can follow us on Facebook through the Positive Impact Campaign, and you can reach me directly through there, or I don't keep up with Instant Messenger as much on Facebook, but you could also contact me, Kelly Redmond, there as well. But I'd say email and following the Positive Impact Campaign are the most direct way. I'm at Kelly the Connector on Twitter. I've got to reconnect with Twitter. And on Twitter, our handle is at the CPPI, for the Campaign to Promote Positive Images on Twitter.
I absolutely love it. There you have it, everybody. This woman is ready, and she's doing it in the marketplace. From what
I need help, truly help. Wow. So thank you so much for putting out the clarion call with me. Absolutely. And I'm looking forward to talking offline to see how we can support each other.
I was about to say that as well. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you for your servant leadership. And thank you for really just doing it. You're not talking about it anymore. You're doing it. And I know the calls are going to come in. I'm definitely signing up for that because I do believe in what you're doing. And again, I can't say thank you enough for tirelessly giving of yourself and your daughter for allowing us to have a little piece of mama.
No, I appreciate you. God bless you. God bless your listeners. And I'm looking forward to making a change with you and all of you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Much. Absolutely. Bye now. Wow. How amazing is that? This woman is doing it in the marketplace, and I do hope that you were able to take down some of those nuggets, and we're going to help her get to where she is already, but with just knowing that she has us to depend on. I want to just segue into what's going on with the Amazon. I was told that 20% of the Earth's main source of oxygen has been burning for over 2 weeks, and that's a problem. And from what we've been able to discover or rediscover about ourselves and about leadership, true leadership, this is a problem of proportion that needs to be done. Something needs to be done to help. And let's give the government some ideas as to what, or our elected officials, some ideas as to what we can do. That's very important. There's a crisis, and something needs to be done. And with that, something is being done with this gentleman that is gracing our studio. He has a voice that has been compared to an angel. When he speaks, atmospheric atoms change, and he's a world changer just by being the beautiful spirit that he is. We make no light of what he's doing because music really is a universal language. And it is my honor to introduce Isaiah Jaay.
Yeah,
How
Jaay.
about that? Thank you and welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm so
Oh
grateful.
my God, you have no earthly idea how excited I am. I'm sorry that our co-producer KJ, couldn't be here, and of course the executive producer of the show, Jeannie Kitty of the City, sends her love.
Mm-hmm.
She's on assignment, but you're stuck with me.
I'm grateful. I feel like I'm gonna have a good time.
I know,
so,
right? I know,
I'm
right? So, how did you get here? I know, right?
Okay. So I'm Isaiah Jaay. I'm
Uh-huh.
from Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Kind of South Central in a way.
Uh-huh.
Just started singing in church. Mostly all the singers nowadays
Yeah.
come from church, and then
Yeah.
we veer off. But
Uh-huh.
still grateful to be in church. My parents very religious Christian, Baptist. Real old school.
Yeah.
So Bible study,
Uh-huh.
vacation Bible school, all that
Uh-huh.
stuff like that. So I was just doing that for a minute, and then my whole family sings. So my grandfather is Joe Lagan of the Mighty Clouds of Joy.
Oh, come on.
So-
I'm from Mississippi.
Yeah. So so that's my grandfather.
Oh, my
so
God.
just being in his footsteps and just different stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful. I love him, and rest in
Yeah,
peace to him.
absolutely.
And so just trying to veer off and do my own little things. So now I work
Yeah.
with kids, and I do certain different things. And so I'm just grateful to be here, and just grateful for the gift I'm
Absolutely.
able to use. So
Here's what gets me, Isaiah. You said something that was really important. When people have such a gift,
mhm.
oftentimes they do leave, the church, and they do go into the marketplace to expound upon their gifts and what have you.
Yeah.
Why has that not been something you've entertained, or have you?
So I've entertained. I've been writing. So I've wrote for different people. So I could say that has been where and I'm kind of getting into it more now. It's just I just feel like if it's possible to do both, why not do both? Because I feel like a lot of times, only reason why I've got somewhere in a certain area is because of God. So I feel like if I'm able to like go do this and
Yeah,
then come
yeah.
back and do that still and still
Yeah.
try to make something, I'm able to do both. So that's currently what I'm doing now.
I love that.
You
And,
know.
and there's no guilt or
No, it's no guilt about it because I just feel like, we make time for anything else.
That's it.
So why can't we make time for this?
That's
So, at times it do get difficult, and at times you are gonna have to miss. So that's
Right.
something that you just have to understand. But I feel like if you hear, you might as well just check back in. That's just how I feel.
love that.
Check back in.
Check
in.
Because that is a constant battle with a lot of people that I've talked to and
Yeah.
mentored over the years. They feel like that gift of the gift of singing
Yeah.
is supposed to be just strictly for Sunday morning. I can't use it Monday through Saturday.
And I really don't agree with that. Only because I feel like God wouldn't give you this gift just to sing to the same people every Sunday.
Wow.
I don't feel like that.
I love
Like He
that.
wouldn't give you this gift just to sing to the same 300 people that come to the same church.
Yeah.
Like it has to be used somewhere else.
Yeah.
So that's just personally how I feel. And I feel like a lot of times, sometimes you are guilt tripped by the church because of like, what are you doing and why would you do that, stuff like that. Because all my life I was told, you're too gospel for R&B, but you're too R&B for gospel.
Oh,
So
wow.
I've always
Oh,
gotten that since
wow.
I was young. I've always gotten that.
Really?
And for a minute it messed with me. I'm not gonna
For sure.
front. Like for a minute it was just like, so what am I supposed to do? And I was like, well, why can't I just use both? I don't understand why. What makes your standard the
Mhm.
standard of what's correct?
Absolutely.
So when I finally got, out of my head and,
Yeah.
once you learn yourself a little bit,
I know,
I'm
right?
23, so once you
Uh-huh.
start learning yourself more, it's kind of like, I can do this once I
Absolutely.
figure myself out.
How
So,
about that?
yeah.
Thank you for
You're
that.
welcome.
Seriously, and I know that a lot of people have, again, gone through that. He said it. You heard him say it. You can do both. Okay.
It's possible.
It's possible.
It's definitely possible. And
Absolutely.
also just once you have a connection with your church, I feel like a lot of people just go to church. Some people go on the holidays,
Yeah.
Easter, Christmas. Nothing wrong
Yep.
with that either. Not saying nothing wrong with that. But and then me, I'm very involved with my church. So I'm a youth advisor at Greater Zion in Compton.
Yes.
Pastor Michael J.T. Fisher.
Absolutely.
So I'm a youth advisor with the kids. So I love them. So even just me going is just kind of like just checking in with them. So it's not like I'm just going to church. It's also once you build that family, it's kind of like you love being there. It's like a family reunion every Sunday,
I got
So it's kind of like, I love being there.
I love being there. Now, we're going to shift just a little bit because
Okay.
you're doing an amazing thing with an amazing man. And it reminded me of the scripture in our Constitution that reads, "Your gift will make room and bring you before great men."
Yeah.
And it has done that several times over. But this particular project I know it's near and dear to your heart. It's near and dear to this gentleman's heart. And from the likes of it, it's here to stay because it's uplifting on Sundays. It's got the neighbors talking, the dogs barking. Do you care to expound upon that?
Much,
Very
but
good.
I'm gonna say a lot, but not much. If
Not
you get what I'm
much.
saying, yeah,
Absolutely. I
okay.
know about
So
NDAs.
yeah, I'm a part of Kanye West's Sunday service.
Yes.
That happens every Sunday. Grateful to be a part. I feel like the only reason why I got it is because I fasted with my church, and
Mm.
I could just say I never expected my 2019 to be what it has been. Like from January to March, like I didn't know what was gonna happen in 2019. You're an artist, you don't know,
Yeah.
anything can happen.
Yeah.
April came for Easter, and it was Coachella, and I auditioned on my birthday, actually March 12th audition, and we didn't really hear anything back until April, and then we got April, I made it, and then so ever since then, and how I look at it, because we was only supposed to be doing this for a week for Easter for
Okay.
Coachella.
Okay.
And then after that, after the week after we didn't get called back, and the week after that we got called back, and from then it just kept going. And for me, every Sunday I'm grateful
Mm.
to be a part because this is a lot of people's dream, and a lot of people are able to sing. So it's not like this is something that's like foreign, but it is something I feel like I only got because I did fast. So and I say that all the time. So every Sunday I'm grateful to be a part. It's not a cult. That's what
No, I
everybody loves
know,
to
I know.
say.
I heard that. And I'm like,
Everybody loves to
no,
say it's a
no,
cult.
it's not.
Personally, I don't play with God,
Come on
so
now.
at all, because I'm scared. Okay,
Me
I'm
too,
very
Isaiah.
scared. So I don't play with God. So I wouldn't. Everybody who knows me
Yeah,
personally know I wouldn't be a part of nothing that plays with God. So
absolutely.
I love Jesus. We love Jesus, and I'm
Absolutely.
just grateful to be there.
How
So
cool is that?
it's very cool, and
Yeah,
I'm and we're touching lives. So we
absolutely.
just went to Dayton, Ohio to do
Yes,
to sing with the people with the tragedy that was going
that's
on there.
right.
They had a mass shooting. They've been
Yes.
having tornadoes, so we were able to go
Mm.
out there, and it was amazing. It was people out there with bruises still on their faces,
Oh,
people who
Jesus.
couldn't walk right, people were traumatized,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they were crying, and like we were in the midst of
Mm.
them, like we wasn't separate, we were in the midst of them. It was powerful. So
Oh, I
just
bet.
grateful to be a part of history, really.
Absolutely. You're
So
giving me chill
you
bumps
know.
here, sir, because I see that as an assignment that's so much more than just music.
Yes.
You do know
And
that.
there's so much more than us also. So
Thank you.
that's what people don't understand. Like people talk about the hair and the
Yeah.
outfits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And regardless of what we have on, because in the Bible, there's so many people who they don't look like they're supposed to be doing anything, and they're able
Mhm.
to, and they're used. So I feel
Yeah.
like you can use. It's possible, and that's
Absolutely.
it's deep. So and I
Absolutely.
feel like it's bigger than us. And once you step out of yourself, a lot of times you definitely see the bigger picture. No matter what you go through, going through it, you'll definitely see the bigger
The
picture.
bigger
So, and I'll
picture.
be hyped. So I'm hyped in
I
church,
know, right? I
so
know,
I might as well be hyped
right?
there. So, it's fun.
Being in your presence, I feel good. And I don't, I don't believe in its shift energy. I believe that God truly allows His Spirit to live in you, and
Thank you.
you resonate with Him.
Thank
You
you.
walk through the room, and I'm just smiling like a little kid, like
You know,
yes.
Thank you. I just try to bring that energy because I feel like it's so much bad energy
Oh my
nowadays. It's so
gosh,
much.
it's so
It's
many
ridiculous.
things.
There's so much
Yeah,
bad energy
yeah,
out there, and
yeah.
so I even like. Cause I'm not gonna front. I'm not always happy. Like
No.
I'm not a morning person at all. So when I wake up, this phase could be a little bit. It could be a lot. But
Right, right.
once I get it together, I just try to be that person. Make sure everybody get a hug. Make sure
Yeah,
everybody get that laugh. Make sure
yeah.
everybody get what they need. It's a lot of
Absolutely.
silent hurt
Yes, it
going
is.
on.
And I'm glad you said that because I want to ask you this question, and
Let's do it.
you're not obligated, under no obligations to answer, but you dealt with some tragedy. We shared a commonality in that tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it's our really good friend, Ryan,
Yeah.
who I still miss. I still listen to his voice,
Yeah.
That, and I think it was your
My sister and my nephew.
and your nephew. And
Yeah.
I'm just reading little excerpts. How do you, and this is going to bless someone, I know it is, and I want you guys to pay attention to what he's saying. How do you move from that to this?
Okay, so Ryan's death was definitely hard.
Yeah.
It was random. So with Ryan, he was kind of like. So the reason I got to Great Design was because of Tough Crowd and because of Terrell and Asian Slim, who goes there, my friends. And then Ryan was more so one of the ones who kind of was like, you have something special, so you should use it. So that's kind of what he was. I know he was on. Ryan was like, you have something, you should use it. And just he made sure I was good. Like he kept me on point when it came to like singing gigs and like taking yourself seriously in like the music industry and how dark the music industry could be and how your light has to be the reason why your light has to be the reason why you matter, why you're in the room. Like that kind of was the biggest thing. So when he left here, it's kind of when I had to, like you never understand death really. And so like with me, my issue was not my issue, because I don't want to say it was an issue, but growing up, like nothing, like my family was cool, so nothing really happened. So at times you can also, like, you see stuff happen to other people, you can tend to feel untouchable. You could tend to feel like, oh, you good, like nothing happened in your family. And I feel like last year was the year that really broke me because so much happened so fast. He left like early December. I mean, at the end of December, close to the Christmas. My mom found out she had cancer. So that was that, and then my nephew died, and then my sister died shortly after that, and so all that was happening, back to back to back to back, and it broke me, but it also grew me up. So but I didn't. It's some stuff that you don't see until you see where you are now. So in 2018, I didn't see that. I was like, why? Why is this happening to me? The way I dealt with it was more so like people are watching you to see how you deal with this, so they can see how they deal with it. And I feel like how I dealt with it, people still tell me now like how you dealt with this situation helped me like deal with what I go with now because of how you moved and how you went through it. Because at times I didn't want to go nowhere. I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel all this other stuff like that, but I still went because I just feel like like that's all that they wanted me to do. Everybody who left here wanted me to keep going, so I feel like that gave me that push that I needed. So, I miss them every now and then, but I also just feel like it was a reason for them having to go, and I feel like the reason, and when they did go, it kind of made me step it up. So, I miss them. Rest in peace, and I know they're up there in heaven because they were great people, and they made me great. So,
Wow. So Isaiah.
Yes.
What's next? I watch your videos on Instagram, and I was dancing to one of them. I was kidding you not. I have no rhythm, but you couldn't tell me I didn't have rhythm. It was so much fun. What's next?
Okay, so for me, I'm working on my EP finally. So I started doing music early, and then I stopped for a minute because I just feel like as a singer, once you can sing, I feel like you can sing anything. But it's like what makes you different? Like what? Like it's already my favorite artist is Chris Brown. He's the reason why I started singing. He's the reason why when he first came out, I was like, "Who is this?"
I know, right? I know,
who's
right?
Chris Brown?
I think everybody was saying
who's
that.
Chris Brown? So that's kind of I bought every album.
Yeah.
Got physical album. That's when I had to go to get the non-explicit version. So I had to go to Walmart. That's when Walmart had the non-explicit. My parents were not having that.
Nope.
So I had to go to Walmart and get the non-explicit version. But it was cool. And so it just made me think like who is Isaiah? Like who is Isaiah? Like, cause it was times where I was making music and it sounded great. Like I'm not saying it sounded bad, but when I performed it was kind of like, cause that's not who I was.
Okay, so you're finding yourself.
So now I'm finding myself, and I feel like I'm at a place where I know, like, when you hear a song, you're like, oh, that's Isaiah.
Yep.
Like you finally like I'm to that point now where I feel like, and I caught it early, so I'm grateful that I'm here, and so I'm working on an EP. So today is Wednesday, so I made a new thing called Wednesdays.
Yes.
Wednesdays. So basically every Wednesday I drop a new cover, a new remix, or a new just a new mashup. Like just trying to promote myself more and just trying to level up. I feel like I'm at a good place. I'm music direct for the city of Inglewood. So like I went for school. The school just started, but they sent me to like school. So I did Princess and the Frog with Windsor Hills Elementary School, and then I did Sister Act the first Sister Act with St. Mary's
Oh my
High School.
God, I
So
love
it's
it.
kind of like that, and
Yeah.
and then I worked at summer camp. We did it was called Lights Camera Broadway,
Mhm.
and we just mashed up a bunch of musicals
Yeah.
with the kids, and we created a play out of it. So
Yeah.
it's kind of that. So just trying to inspire. That's really my goal. Just inspire, trying to mash old school with new school, because I
love
feel
it.
like the old school doesn't really know about the new school, and the new school don't know about the old school. So if there's a way that I could bring both together, that's my whole purpose of
I
that.
love it,
So
baby.
yeah.
How can people find you on social media?
Okay, you can find me at Instagram, Isaiah in the Bible. So ISAIAH_JAAY. You can find me on YouTube at Isaiah Sings Great. Facebook, Isaiah Johnson, but Isaiah J. It's Isaiah J with two A's, because it's two A's in Isaiah. Because everybody spells Isaiah ISIAH,
Isaiah.
and that's not how you spell it. So
Absolutely.
if you remember the two A's in J, it's the two A's in Isaiah, and that's me.
That's you.
Yes.
We have had an incredible show today. You have truly blessed me by just tuning in and showing up for you and for us. Leadership, true leadership. It was a 5-part series. This today was part 5. And I'm going to put you on the spot because it's time for us to check out. Give me a bar of a mashup or
Okay.
a mix-up.
Let's see. Can we talk for a minute? I just want to know your name, yeah. Say my name, when no one is around you. Say, baby, I love you, and you ain't running it. Now you say my name, you acting kind of shady. And baby, why the sudden change?
All right, I love you. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Isaiah,
Thank you. I
for being a
appreciate
part
you.
of the Dr. Tongie Show. We'll see you Monday on Facebook Live, Talk to Tongie. Got a new series coming. I'll let you know about it in a couple of days. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye, y'all.